Hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining this special edition of a live stream. I'm joined by my twin brother, Darren, who's also Ride Paddle Repeat on Instagram and on YouTube. How you doing tonight, bro?
Doing well, thanks. Thanks for having me join the stream.
Yeah, no problem. And today we're really just going to go over some of the press releases to come out of Watches and Wonders in Switzerland today. Yeah, some pretty interesting stuff that's out there. So I thought maybe I can just share some of the stuff in the Hodinkee articles. Go over some of the highlights from the bigger brands. If there's anything specific you want to look at, then we can definitely do that. But before getting into that, what are you wearing on your wrist today?
Yeah, I'm switching it up a bit today. Going back to a classic here. Sorry.
Oh, very nice, man. Yeah, it looks good on the
Back
bracelet.
on the steel, yeah. Had it on the strap, put it back on the steel.
Hey, and we're joined by Patrick as well. Thanks for making the time.
No problem. So, what I missed tonight?
Oh, nothing. Just the introduction. I was just, I don't know if you've met my twin brother is on the stream too, Darren.
You've got a twin brother? No, I didn't know. Nice to meet you, Darren.
Nice to meet you as well, Patrick. Yeah, I've seen you on a couple of the streams.
I'm a fraternal twin myself, so.
Hey, wow.
So that's pretty cool.
Is it a twin brother or sister?
Yeah, brother.
Oh, brother. Nice. Okay.
So
very cool.
And so it's fun to have a twin. But,
yeah, I recommend it to everyone.
Yeah. Sorry, I was a couple minutes late. I was eating some dinner and did a little bit of a workout before, so I had to get all cleaned up and showered.
You rocking a wristwatch tonight, or?
Post shower, I am naked. So,
all right.
So yeah, sorry about that.
Not that kind of stream, but thanks for your honesty.
Yeah, I'm letting down the community.
All right, I'm just going to jump in the chat before doing my wristwatch check. And those of you watching on the stream, let us know what you're wearing tonight. So first, we got Underachieving Watch Collector. Thanks for joining. Recon Watches, how's it going? Thanks for making the time. Peter C's here. Young Excellency out east. Thanks for making the time. And we got Caliber YQG. And today I'm wearing something I don't wear too often, but it is
nice.
The Rolex Explorer 39mm. This is the 214270. In my opinion, it's the best Explorer that there is.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like the size for my wrist, you know.
I can't argue with that. That's the perfect size.
Yeah, ooh, we got a Vacheron Overseas, and
we're gonna watch it.
Yeah,
Overseas. The dual time as well. Wow, that's a fantastic watch.
yeah, dual time is my favorite.
Yeah, I love that. Great complication. Ellen, greetings. Wearing Polar Explorer. Very nice. So we're in good company. Both wearing the Explorer. Young Excellency, we're in the Sinn 856i on a Strap Mill Canada leather strap. Way to represent. Yeah. The 865i, I guess that's just the Sinn with the indices, not the Arabic numeral. I really want to get my hands on the 856 UTC, but Kawaraikaji not wearing a watch today.
Representing the naked crowd.
Perfect. Oh yeah, he's mentioning it's tegmented as well. Sweet. Yeah. You know, Zinn's got some new releases out there too, so maybe later in the stream we can talk about that.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that. I was excited and disappointed about it.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, Watches and Wonders. I mean, there's a lot of press releases today. I thought maybe I could just share some of the information from the Hodinkee site, and we can scroll through and maybe just if you just touch on some of the more popular brands, but then if there's anything specific you want to look at, we can definitely do that. Let's go to. I don't know if that's coming up now. I think a lot of buzz about some of the Patek releases. I was really just going to hone in first on Rolex and then maybe Tudor because I think those are going to be the most notable, and then we can definitely go over anything else you guys would like to do. So first and foremost, I think this is a bit controversial, but what did you guys think of the new Rolex GMT-Master II?
Go for it, Darren.
Truthfully, not a fan. I don't know. The colorway, I think, has potential, but I don't think it's well executed. It kind of clashes in my mind. I mean, totally personal preference, and I know green is a color that people kind of see differently, right? So, to my eyes, just not great. And of course, the crown orientation and the Cyclops. I can't get used to it. So I'm kind of on the fence, to be honest. It's not my favorite.
Yeah. How about you, Patrick? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same ballpark. The weird thing is, I'm not the biggest Rolex fanboy, but if I did have to say there was a Rolex that I do like, I like any of the green Submariners because I like either the anniversary component or I just like a different color, just something that makes, sorry Rolex fanboys, a boring watch less boring. Because I mean, truly, when I see a Submariner, I mean, I just see a dive watch, and to me, most dive watches just look like dive watches. And what really separates a Rolex dive watch from another is, some colorway that makes me go, oh, that's a Rolex. And, the green usually to me is a great thing. But on this one, I don't know. I thought I would like it more.
Yeah.
But when I sort of saw it, I was like, oh, I just don't know if the green and black goes so well. Like maybe even if it was a green and like silver or just some other version of a two-tone green. But I definitely just don't think I like the color. And then on top of that, with the truly recycled movement version of a left-hand drive, yeah, just it's kind of two strikes against it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say I'm not really a fan, even though I'm kind of surprised because I like the green hand, I like the green. It just doesn't seem to work.
Yeah, I think I largely echo both of you guys. I feel like, I mean, it was interesting because earlier on it seemed like Rolex seemed to like leak a lot of that information based on, what they were kind of showing about a green ceramic bezel. But I think they really threw a curveball by doing the left-hand version. And for me, yeah, I'm not too much a fan of it. Like, if it was just a three-hander, like the left-handed Tudor Pelagos, I think that would be fine because you have one less complication and the date was still on the 3 o'clock position. But with this one, the 9 o'clock date kind of throws me, and also having to adjust a GMT hand on the left-hand side.
Yeah, because I'm not against lefties. I mean, I think Panerai makes wonderful destros. I love the Pelagos. It's something about this one, and maybe it's the color plus the lefty, or I can't 100% pinpoint it yet. I haven't had enough time for my eyes to absorb all the information.
Yeah, Alan makes a good point in the comments about, I think it's a combination of, and Torin, you said the same thing, right? It's like, it's not the crown so much because that's great, Pelagos, all that, like you guys mentioned. It's the Cyclops too. It's like it's too much, too fast.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a fan of a Cyclops to begin with, and then having it on the 9 o'clock side,
Totally.
yeah, it's
Even
kind of
though
jarring.
I will stand up for the left-handers out there. If you think about it, if you had it on your right wrist and you were wearing a sleeve, the date window peeking out underneath the cuff would be convenient.
Sure. No, that's a very good point. It's interesting because most of the time, getting a GMT Master II is like not obtainable for most people, and then you're also making a bigger minority by only having like 10% of the population as lefties, right?
Yeah, oh, so true.
Okay. But yeah, we're getting some background noise. I think, I don't know. I'll try and monitor that. I don't think it's coming from my end, but
No, I think that is a grandpa walking past with a baby. So probably all my fault.
no, no worries. Yeah. All right. So maybe we'll transition, unless you guys have any other additional thoughts on the GMT
No, not too
Master
much else
II.
to add for this.
I think another splash of green, and to me, this is surprising. I didn't think I'd like this one a lot, but I want to hear your guys' opinion first. What about the new Rolex Air-King and discontinuation of the old Air-King? Patrick, maybe you want to go first this time.
Well, I have once again a very maybe non-popular opinion. I hate the Air-King, and I similarly hate the new Air-King. It's better, so there's less hate, but
Right.
the previous Air-King, like just the the prestige of having a Air-King Air paying homage to a rocket car that never was built and didn't race. I mean, it's kind of a loser's errand for a loser's watch, and I just don't like anything about it. And the numbers that were asymmetrical before just looked sloppy. So at least they fixed that, and they made the numbers a little less thick. So they kind of toned it in, and I guess the crown guards, they don't really add too much or take away too much, but it looks nice. I'm just shocked that they didn't change it more,
Mhm.
because I really thought, the Air King, for, every reason, just had a reason to go away. And the fact that it didn't kind of shocks the heck out of me. But so the fact that they doubled down and made a new one is interesting. What I love about it, though, is it's going to completely destroy the flipper market for the previous Air King, because now everyone who owns one of those ugly Air Kings truly has the inferior, worst product. And there's no reason in the world anyone should pay money for that. But knowing people, they probably still will.
I mean, I do think the old Air-King prices will go up, but Darren, do you want to weigh in? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm I like it better than I like the GMT2. I don't have much more to add because I've never been a fan. It does seem a little busy. Someone said here, I think it's like a busy Explorer, and I would agree with that. I will say though that I do like the case. It looks like the lugs are a little bit more square. It looks more like a Submariner on the case dimension and things like that. So that's cool. And I think now they have loom, so some good improvements outside the movement, but it wouldn't be, yeah, like I'm with Patrick on the sense that I wouldn't pay even retail probably for it.
Wow. Okay. So I'm actually I have a bit of a different take on this because it's fascinating. I never liked the original Air-King. Um, didn't do anything for me. This one with the subtle refinements, I actually kind of enjoy, and it kind of goes back to, I mean, Dave from Just the Watch mentioned, kind of looks like a busier Explorer. I think now, if you ever wanted like this Explorer, that's 39 millimeters, but you want to go up a size to 40, now that these numerals, the airbags have chromolite loom, if you look at it from like a low legibility standpoint, low light situation, you're going to have the triangle 3, 6, and 9 light up almost like an Explorer, but you're getting a 40 millimeter case size. And I do think that the case is still highly anti-magnetic as well, right? Similar to a Milgauss, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I do like the crown. The addition of a crown guards to me just makes it more of a sports professional piece more than it was before. So to me,
Yeah.
I really like the subtle refinements on it. So it turned it in for me. It kind of turned into a watch that like I would never consider owning. To like, yeah, I could see that being kind of like a slightly larger Explorer. I do like the pop of green on this more so than on the GMT Master II. But Yeah,
It's
and
definitely an improvement, like that's for sure. It's just a preference thing, and that's all it is for me. It's not my preference, but it's definitely
Yeah,
an improvement.
I agree. Definitely an improvement, and but still, yeah, it's probably the least liked Rolex for me in their entire collection.
yeah, I think like ND mentioned too. Yeah, it's if you're going to spend that money, it might not be your first choice in the Rolex lineup, but
Same.
yeah, yeah. So
You're right, Alan.
yeah, the previous version, the loom was. I think it was it just a triangle and then the handset. Like I think that was it for the loom before. And to me, that made no sense because this looked like a aviation watch, and normally that prioritizes legibility. But yeah, seems like people have mixed opinions on it too. Why don't we switch and talk about probably what stands out to me as a home run, and go to the Tudor Black Bay Pro, which kind of is reminiscent of an Explorer too. Um, it's got that 39 millimeter case size. It's a little bit thick, but Darren, did you get a chance to take a look at the specs on this one?
Yeah, actually, I love this one. I'm with you. I think it's a home run. I love that it's got the steel bezel. I think that's a cool feature. Don't know if we've seen that on a Tudor before. And yeah, I mean, it is probably going to be what.
P01.
Oh yeah, yeah, right. The P01. That's true. And actually, that was a cool bezel they had on this one. I think this one's fixed though. But yeah, I think you mentioned the thickness, and I think you've actually owned the GMT, so you know what that's like, and it actually probably wears not as thick as it might be. So I think this is awesome. I love the pop of color in it. Um, I love snowflake hands in general, and I think the bracelet's got some cool features in it as well, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I
Yeah, they
like it.
got the clasp has
The
I can't
same
remember
as
what they
the
call it.
bronze one, right? Like the black bay bronze with
Yeah,
the
it's got
sliding.
the coolest adjustment. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So I think overall it's a huge winner, and this would be the one I would pick probably over any other. Well, from Tudor and Rolex, anyways. I know we'll talk about the Grand Seiko and stuff later.
How about you, Patrick? How do you like the thickness on it? Do you think it's manageable?
Ooh, I don't really know what the thickness is, but it
I
looks
think it's
manageable.
14.6 millimeters.
Yeah, I mean Tudor general GM or GMTs and just Tudor black bays in
Yeah.
general are little thick boys, but
I mean, so is a Pelagos. So
yeah, as I said that's not a deal breaker for me. I'm not a shirt and tie kind of guy anyway, so I don't ever worry about my cuffs. But yeah, I think it's a great piece. Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite simple watches that was put out today. So yeah, home run for Tudor for this one. I love the yellow. I'm thrilled that they're adding the bronze bracelet system to the non-bronze. So yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
a home run.
Yeah, the old clasp never really did it for me, so this seems like a big improvement if you're going for the bracelet. What do you guys think of the non-bracelet options? Like to me, the bracelet's the way to go, but like, did you see the fabric strap and the leather?
Yeah, I am completely not a fabric strap guy. So when I got my Black Bay 58, the silver one, I pretty much just like, there's no way I'm taking the strap one. So get me the leather one. Even though I wasn't going to wear the leather either, I put it on rubber immediately. So for me, I'm a rubber or bracelet guy. I like something that can go anywhere with me anytime. So as I said, I'm thrilled it's on a metal bracelet, and I'm thrilled it's got a good clasp.
Yeah, me too. And I think compared to the original Black Bay GMT, I think this will be a lot more wearable because the lug to lug is shorter. I think it's like 47 versus 50, and the lug opening is obviously narrower at 20 versus 22. So, granted, it's about the same thickness as before. I do feel like the shorter lug to lug and having the refinements on the bracelet is going to make it more comfortable wearing long term. And I like the vintage look of it. Like, kind of got that patinaed looking loom, but the fixed steel bezel, as Darren mentioned, I really like the looks of that. I'm glad they didn't go with a rotating bezel. I don't know who even utilizes that, like getting the third time zone. I mean, but so yeah, I think this is going to do really well. I'm excited.
Mhm.
I'd love to get that in hand.
I'd love to see it, yeah, in person. That'd be awesome.
And then
Oops.
Do we lose time?
It looks like Darren, it's just you and me.
All right, awesome.
So too bad we can't pull up anything. So
Yeah, that's true. What's interesting is Torin had the
there he
003.
is.
Oh, there he is. Cool. So I was just gonna comment that you had your 003, right? The Grand Seiko with the steel bezel too, and the not like non-rotating. And I thought that was it's just so practical, and you're not afraid to like if you ding it or something like that. So just another observation.
yeah, and I was hoping to, before I kind of drop there, go over and take a look at another popular GMT model from Tudor, and this time they're kind of got this root beer looking, and now it's two-tone. So personally, for me, I'm not a huge fan of two-tone, but I don't know, Patrick. What are your thoughts on
Yeah, I'm
the
kind of the same way.
40?
I'm not a huge fan of two tone. I do think the Rolex root beer, I guess with the rose gold, it's more favorable for me than a regular gold two tone. So I can appreciate it, but I don't like it. So I think this whole line, minus the fabric one, that one looks kind of silly, but it looks pretty good on the leather, and I think it even looks pretty good on the bracelet. So I'm a fan, but I wouldn't buy it.
That's fair. I see in the comments, yeah, there's a bit of differing in opinions. Some people love it. Andy's a big fan. Detroit Spartan, not so much by the looks of it. But I tend to agree with you, Patrick. I think the way to go on this one would be the leather, maybe. I don't know. I don't like a two-tone bracelet with like a gold center link running through it. But I mean, it's so. If this one, if I'm not mistaken, is the similar proportions as the original Black Bay GMT. I think it's a 41 millimeter case, likely same thickness as before, and lug to lug as well, and basically the same movement as before. Darren, what's your take on it?
Yeah, similar to what you guys said. I prefer the leather strap option. I do like. I think this color. I know some people said that they didn't like the root beer like color scheme on this one, but I actually think it's pretty good because the contrast is like seems about right and kind of fades into each other. So and yeah, like just for me, even the bracelet with the two-tone gold, it's not so bad. And like I think they did a better job. I don't know if we'll get to it, but like in the Royales too, like their two-tone actually looks pretty good. So that's my thought.
Yeah. Hey, Chaz is joining us. I'm glad
It
you
does.
can make it, Chaz. Diet root beer. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Good.
It does. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Pillows is a good question. Wondering if the Tudor class, if the new one you can be able to swap out.
Yeah,
for
that's
the
a
old
real
one.
good question. I don't know.
That's a
Yeah.
great question.
That would improve the wearability of the other Black Bay, 58 models. Young Excellency mentions he keeps hoping Tudor will scrap the glamour and style line and replace it with something else with in-house movements. Yeah. Having an in-house day-date movement would be really nice with like extended power reserve.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I was always a fan of the North Flag, even though I know it really wasn't
Oh
very
yeah.
popular.
Oh yeah, I love the
I
North Flag.
love the North Flag. I've always wanted like that.
Yeah, and even though
That's
I
such a
don't think I
cool
would ever
color.
use that alarm one, but the advisor is kind of a cool complication. So I think Tudor's got a lot going for it.
Yeah, so for me, Tudor not bad with their releases. Is there another Tudor or Rolex you guys wanted to check out? If not, I'd like to transition to Grand Seiko because I'm really intrigued by some of their releases.
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So as a previous owner of a Grand Seiko diver, the spring dive diver, I had the titanium version, which this release I think will come out in August in titanium. I'm a big fan of this watch. This is the, oh man, I want to say SLGA 015, but I don't recall right off the top of my head. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but this one essentially has their new 5-day spring drive caliber movement, the 9RA2, or well, it has the power reserve on the front, so
Yeah, so it's the A5.
yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, A5's front, A2's back.
Apologies, I'm used to my Lake Sua, which is same movement, just power reserve on the back.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, so I think they slimmed this down ever so slightly. It's like 43 and a half, I think. I know there are a lot of people that really wanted, like a 42 or smaller Grand Seiko diver. I don't know that it's in Grand Seiko's design language to do a smaller dive watch. Traditionally, they tend to do 44 and up, like up to 46, 47. But I'm pretty impressed by this. Darren, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, because you had one too, I get to see like something similar in person, which is cool. The only thing with me with all the Grand Seiko divers is I don't really like the hand stack as much as like even with the Seiko like LX or something like that. But other than that, I think it's great, and I think it's like definitely practical with the spring dive, and it's cool to see the power reserve bumped. So other than this handset, I really do like it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on how they address the ISO compliance, divers compliance? You got that
With
blue tip on the chapter ring right here.
yeah, I thought that was a pretty smart integration. I mean, as opposed to like having it straight up on the dial itself. I mean, gives the date window a bit more presence.
I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, I would have preferred personally if they shifted the date to like between 3 and 4 or something, and then kept a full index at the 3. But that's just me. Patrick, did you get a chance to look at this Grand Seiko, like the specs beforehand? Or yeah.
So now for the people who don't know me too well, there's two watches that are on my immediate hit list, and that is the perfect Grand Seiko and the perfect Sinn. So I was up till 2:00 in the morning waiting for something to drop, and one thing did drop actually at 2 a.m., which was kind of weird, but then all the rest dropped, once I woke up this morning. But I was just ready to hit that online boutique button and see if I could buy something early. But and I'm really looking for a spring drive. I don't really care if it's the A5 or the A2, but I want it to be the new model, and I want it to have just a really beautiful dial and something that is a little less recycled than what they've been doing lately. They're doing a lot of the same dials in different colors, and that's kind of annoying me. Like I liked it when they sort of did more original dials. And so this one really pushes almost all the buttons. My only fear is that, it might be a little big. And so I kind of have to try it on first, just because, it probably wears well, but, almost 44 is a pretty big watch. And, I just got to check it out, but I love the dial.
Yeah.
I think the integration,
it's a subtle texture, but it's nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I think the evolution of the Evolution 9 case into the diver's ceramic bezel, I think looks really sharp. So I'm really a big fan of this watch. This is the one I was like, ooh, that's an almost.
Yeah, I strongly agree with you. I think the combination of the upgraded spring dive movement, and I can tell you this is the most accurate movement I've ever owned. Well, at least the 9RA2, like not even deviating a second over the course of a month. And then, the case, and I think the movement everything sits lower in profile. So if that's the same for this dive watch, it's going to wear very firmly planted on the wrist. They didn't do a lot of press releases on the clasp. I wasn't too sure if it was going to have that traditional ratcheting extension clasp that it had.
It's true. Yeah, that clasp is a little weird.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that clasp, to be honest, but that's about it. Just I'm really excited about this diver. I think it's a big step up from their older spring drive divers with respect to potential wearability. Yeah, shrinking the diameter does matter, I think, and the titanium. I can tell you, after owning the titanium diver from the past generation, it's quite light. So I think, even people with like sub 7-inch wrists can easily pull this off, I think. But
I'll try it on when you pick it up, Tony.
Let's talk about. Well, they also have a chronograph GMT, and they also have the. Actually, I'm more excited about. We can go to that in a second, but these Evolution 9 series fixed bezel GMTs are pretty nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Darren, what are your thoughts? You seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous. I love it.
Oh yeah, look at that white one.
Yeah, I think the white one's pretty cool. Yeah, yeah. And the way that the indices pick up the light, just like because you have both the Birch and the Suwa, so like you can definitely see some design language being shared there. Yeah, I like the way that they did this bezel too. It's not. It's like it's like a minimalist bezel almost, but it still gives you the functionality for a GMT. So it's really cool. Yeah.
And Curtis mentioned on the diver, I think there's the ratcheting clasp on it, so wouldn't surprise me. But
yeah, Grand Seiko loves to keep their clasps the same year after year after year.
No innovation there, but yeah. What are your thoughts, Patrick? On like to me, the white really stands out. The black's nice, but what are your thoughts in general on this?
Marginal disappointment because I think the watch body looks great. Once again, they're recycling a dial on the white, so it's just it's a snowflake again. And I'm just kind of getting a little sick and tired of the same, everything on the same. So that's a little bit of a buzzkill for me. But the big buzzkill is just, when you just release a new movement, I really don't want any watch that has the old movement. And so it just sort of hurts my feelings if it was, let's say, more to my liking if it had the old movement, because you don't buy a last year's Ford pickup truck if you got this year's Ford pickup truck. It doesn't make sense in the longevity way. And I don't flip my watches ever. If I buy a watch, it's in the permanent collection forever. So I'm almost thinking 20 years down the road, I want the movement that's the new one, not the one where they're going to eventually say, hey, sorry, we don't service that one anymore.
I mean, I don't think they're going to stop servicing the old one, but you never know.
Well,
I've never known anyone to actually have a spring drive serviced. I do think they do have a fairly long service interval, but
I just sent one of my Cradors over to. It's a spring drive. I just sent it.
Okay.
It's in Japan right now, so eventually I'll get it back.
Yeah, you don't want to be parted from that too long. Alan was asking case size. If it's Evolution 9 series, it's probably 40, or Young XLC saying 41 actually. So I think the proportions are pretty good. I'm liking the fact that they tried to keep a GMT watch under 14 millimeters. Like for Grand Seiko, that's really good, especially for a spring drive one. And again, I'm a huge fan of the Evolution 9 series case, the case profile. Another feature I really like about these watches that I sorely missed, at least in the Lake Sua, is that it has lume. So you can actually see that there's lume on the handset here on the GMT hand. And I do believe the indices maybe between the mirrored edges might have lume as well. But for a sports watch, I like to see it.
Yeah, I agree. It's really pretty.
Yeah. And I do like, I can't remember if this is like a sapphire cap or if it's steel, but I do like the bezel, like the fixed bezel. I'm excited to see this as well. I'm just going to assume that the bracelet's going to be the same as like the other Evolution 9 series bracelets, which is to say it's pretty good. But
And the
to me,
lug width is it 20 now, or is it 19?
well, it's 22 on the other models, so I'm gonna assume it's 22. Ooh, Bobby Legs
Yay!
getting a super chat. I was watching his stream yesterday. They were covering early release, so that was a good stream. Pricing on this one, I think Junior Johnson was asking. Let me scroll down real quick. It's $8,400, and it does have the spring drive caliber 9R66. So I mean it's priced fairly appropriately with the movement and the new case. I'm not complaining too much.
Yeah, usually you get about a $2,000 discount for the old movement versus the new.
Yeah. Now maybe we can briefly touch on. They also released. This is their flagship chronograph plus GMT, I think. And if I'm not mistaken, maybe I can scroll down later to confirm. It's slightly larger than their other iterations of this one, but what I really like is that they toned down the sizes of the pushers. Like I don't know if you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Seiko, Patrick, what are your thoughts?
Now I'm gonna say, Seiko, you got a round of applause. One, that is a gorgeous dial, and two, thank you for finally taking the giant 3 pimples off the side of your watch, because all their other chronographs, I mean, my goodness, it just looked like you had a broken thumb sticking out. It was just the weirdest looking chronograph you've ever seen. And I know they're big, I know they're chunky. I would never get one just because of the size, and I'm not really a big chronograph guy anyway. But I mean, it's an absolutely beautiful watch. So, not for me, but round of applause. It's a beautiful watch.
Yeah, Darren, what do you think?
Yeah, I didn't get a lot of time to review this one, but I'll completely agree with Patrick. Yeah, it looks really good actually. It's hard to take something that could be relatively busy and make it like symmetrical and practical. I think they did a really good job in this one with that.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely, they did, like you said, Darren. I think they did a good job making the different complications, like the chronograph. I like that the chronograph minutes and hours are like right over each other. It's quite symmetrical, and the GMT function is there. I do think the clasp on this one has been improved. Let me just scroll down. Or at least I thought they showed a clasp with multiple micro adjustments, which maybe they had before. But this one, you're getting the 9R96. So it's basically your same 72-hour power reserve on a spring drive. Pricing, I don't know if this is in line with the other ones, but there's kind of like a more limited and non-limited version at 12,400 versus 11,400. I mean, you can find the older models on the secondary market for like half that price probably, but I think this one is proportioned a lot better. And like Patrick mentioned, the pushers are a lot more subdued. So I found that was pretty interesting as well. Well,
Sorry,
not everyone agrees. So, I mean, there's a series of other releases, but we mentioned, and I don't want to lose sight of this, but maybe we can talk about some of the releases from Sinn, like the different color options there. So let me see if I can bring up a tab on that. All right, so let's start with maybe the 556, and they kind of took the approach of every other brand like Omega and Rolex, and just decided to release a ton of different color options. I don't know. Patrick, what are your thoughts? I think you kind of seem disappointed. I don't know, or are you a fan of this?
Well, my disappointments for something else, but
Okay.
the dials actually are beautiful. So if you zoom in on them, they really actually have a lot of texture. So they're actually really stunning dials. So, I'm not one who's probably going to wear any sort of rainbowy, watch, but I think they're really beautiful. So I wish they would take that texture and maybe put it on one of the watches that I do want, because I love a textured dial. So I said I'm for their introductory, because I think that's pretty much what the 556 is that's their opening range. I think that's a really wonderful watch. It's super reasonably priced, and to be able to get a really high quality movement that's easy to read and has some fun and flair to it. Once again, I'm giving a standing ovation to Sinn for the release.
Yeah, I like the 556 value proposition for sure. It's always been like a watch actually I would love to own too. I think for me, with the color schemes, I prefer one of the highlights, like in Zinn's design language in general, is like the contrast and the visibility. So, you know what I mean? Like legibility. And so
Yeah.
in that case, I kind of really just like the dark green. I don't know what that they're calling it, but to me, that's got the best contrast. The other ones look harder to read. I think it takes away from like their ethos. I don't know how to say it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't look like a Zen then to
Yeah,
me,
no,
which
you're right.
neither here.
That's
It's
what they
neither
think.
here nor there. But when I think Zen, I think like uber tool, like German, like no fuss kind of movement, and like that's why I do like the green one. But that's kind of my take on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. The green's my favorite. Probably the orange is my second favorite, and the yellow and the we'll call it Tiffany blue, because well, that's
Yeah,
what everyone
everybody's
wants
got
to call it.
a
Yeah,
favorite.
right.
Is my least favorite, but I think it's nice that they're doing something that might open them up to markets that would never have heard of them, because
Sure.
that's kind of what I used to love about Grand Seiko, was that and Crador and stuff like that. When I got into them, was if you wore one of those and someone saw you, you know the classic story would be you'd walk into a watch store and someone would say like, oh, well, let's upgrade you to a real watch, and you just look at them like they don't know anything. And that's kind of how you are with a Sinn, where it's a really great watch, but
Yeah, it's a great one.
99.9% of people have never heard of it. And this might make them a little bit more recognizable, because they've got a fun watch, as well as what Darren said, which is completely right, is they're, to me, they're a tool brand, and
Yeah,
that's
for
why I
sure.
like their most tool watch. And but I still applaud them for a good release.
Yeah, Alan agrees with you. And for me, yeah, I think the one I gravitated toward the most was the orange, but I do wish the indexes and the handset were a little bit bigger or would like stand out a little bit more. To me, it kind of reminds me of like what is it, a Tutama, like I don't know if it's a Seven Seas or the Shoreline ones, but they have an orange one that kind of harkens back to the similar color as what's in release. So, but yeah, in general, I do prefer the higher contrast styles that Zen have with the black, the matte black, or I guess with the 556i, it's usually a glossy black dial with the stark white indexes.
What I would have loved is like when you had like the red seconds too. You know what I mean? Like maybe if they did that second hands in a cool color, that might be neat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
true.
definitely when you see those in the flesh and you see sort of this little pebbly stone texture they have, the texture is really
Oh
nice.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to click on to. I couldn't really zoom in more. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, even that one.
Yeah, the texture is definitely there. I
Probably
wanted
in
to.
person they're actually like pretty decent too, right? So I guess that's the other thing.
Yeah, did you guys get a chance to check out the new U50?
Yep, that's the one that's making me cry.
Really?
So
In a good way or a bad way?
oh, in a good and bad way. I mean, the U50 is my favorite. That's the one that I want to buy. But I'm waiting for a limited edition, which obviously they just came out with, but I want the non-PVD version. And
Oh,
so
okay, yeah, good
the
point. Yeah.
only limiteds they've made are the PVD with the mother of pearl, and now this PVD with this fume. And I just want the non-PVD.
Yeah.
So as I said, I was ready to push that buy button, but then I was like, oh crap. So it's a beautiful dial. The watch itself is great. I'm just not a black watch guy. So, I know the PVD coating is tough, and with the Tegament it's extra tough. It's just, I just like bare metal, and what I really love about the U versions is that it's the submarine steel. So, I kind of want to see that different tone of metal, and covering it up to me is just doesn't
Yeah.
make it as exciting for me.
I was gonna say it's almost a Zen, but it's a Zen. All right, if you all right. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I was disheartened that it was only PVD coated because I've personally owned, like, I've owned a U50, just a normal steel, and I've also owned a U1 that was PVD coated. And to me, the PVD coating, like you said, kind of took away from the fact that it was submarine steel. Um, and it also, for me, like, if you wanted to take it off the bracelet and pair it with something else, like, you'd probably want like a PVD coated buckle or like a darker strap. Like, it's not as versatile, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree with both of you. And now that being said, I think it's still a beautiful watch.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
I
color
love that
scheme looks good,
blue
but
dot.
for sure, it would be so much nicer if it was submarine steel. Yeah, because again, that just to me, I mean, I guess having PVD does fit with a tool watch kind of, I guess ethos and aesthetic. But I love that that Sinn steel, just steel matte stuff and high legibility. That to me, that is like the perfect tool watch, but still really nice.
Yeah. I wasn't too sure. Is this EZM 13 a new release too? Or, I mean, is there another Zen release you wanted to take a look at?
Well, Staple Boss says he picked up the EZM 1.1S, and yeah, that's a beautiful watch.
Yeah. Um, is that different? Is the 1.1S, is that different than the left-hand crown version of EZM?
I don't know all the back and forths on them. I know it was new for this year, but I'm not sure. Or
Yeah.
they released a new EZM. I don't know exactly what the differences are.
Yeah, and they're available now. I think in North America you can buy them through Watch Buys, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you could, if you wanted to, Patrick, you can buy that U50 right now. Right?
Oh, I was on the website this morning.
I think. Do you remember the pricing for it? I think it was like 3,300 or something.
Yeah, it was a little bit more than the regular. The regular tegmented full is like 31.5, and yeah, this one was like
Yeah.
3,300.
Yeah, I think it's a really solid offering if you just want a really
Absolutely.
comfortable dive watch. Yeah. All right. Maybe let's jump back over to Hodinkee, see if there's any other releases. Darren, you said you maybe wanted to talk about Zenith.
Yeah, I mean, I know it could be like it could go either way, and I know like if anybody saw Nico's video, he was kind of trashing a little bit about the Chronomaster, copying Rolex, but I actually just really love the look of it, even if it is like copied. But I'd still use the same argument, that the original Chronomaster Sport had, which is like it's not necessarily a copy. They have the history behind it. I think the execution's great. I think the accuracy is great. I think the movement is great. So I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I was trying to find the Chronomaster. Did I not?
I know they have the open, the
Yeah,
open
that's their
one.
new
Yeah,
release is the Open.
yeah, the open one.
So
Yeah.
Darren, are you saying you like the Open or do you like the original?
I like the original more than the open, but the open, they always have like if you look at the Defies and stuff, it's always cool to see what's going on inside. But to me, the open it takes away the legibility of the actual chronograph. So I
Yeah,
prefer
I
the
can buy that.
original.
I have a sentimental tug to the open, because I remember when I was much younger and would walk into watch stores and I would see a Zenith, and I would see, back then it was just a regular, El Primero, but it was open heart. And I always just thought, oh my goodness, that's the most amazing complication. Not knowing that it was just a hole in the dial. I thought it was something more. But I always just loved the look of it then, and so nostalgia kind of thinks it's cool that they brought it back in some shape or form. I kind of agree with you. It's maybe a little much and kind of steals a little bit from the show, but sentimentally, I do kind of like it.
Yeah, and what I agree with you 100%, Patrick, is like, for example, you wouldn't see Rolex do that in a Daytona because their movement probably doesn't, look as good, or I don't know if they would execute it as well. So kudos to Zenith to be able to pull it off, right?
Yeah, those are really good points. I liked. I mean, I kind of liked how they committed to going to a full gold Chronomaster Sport with the gold bezel and the bracelet. I can't remember the pricing on it, but I feel like, people aren't gonna, if you can't dish out for a Daytona, like that's definitely, and you want a statement piece, that's a good way to go. Outside of the chronograph, I can't remember if the Zenith really released anything else, or if it was covered too much at Watches and Wonders.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything else really.
Yeah, I do.
Is there anything else that really stood out to you guys about the press releases from today?
Well, I mean, an unobtainable piece. How about the new Grand Seiko Constant Force Tourbillon?
Oh yeah. I think Young Excellency in the comments was saying he's already saving up. You're right. That thing is
look at that one.
Crazy.
That's what I told him. I said he better be careful because I'm going to scoop one up before him. And then there's only 19 left.
Right. It is gorgeous, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Go ahead, sir.
Oh, I was going to say, anybody who would buy a Richard Mille over that is a fool, because you're in the same price point and you can have just this amazing tech.
Yeah.
And I know Richard Milles have they've got good tech too, but buy something that's got some soul and some class. And I say that's what I would do if I was a Bitcoin billionaire. I would buy one of those.
Totally.
Yeah, let me see if I can bring up the concert for us. So yeah, that looks amazing. Even the attention to detail, like with the strap, how like they paired it, I think it's really nice. It's got a nice bit of texture to it, and yeah, I'm not a huge fan of skeletonized dials, but that watch is phenomenal.
Yeah, no, it is pretty darn neat. I don't know what they did to that alligator calf or strap, though. It doesn't look like alligator at all.
Yeah, I don't know. BJ's asking about the Patek releases. Yeah, the Calatrava, I think they did a good job. If I can flip back to...
Yeah, I like the freehander.
Oh, yeah, you like the three-hander on it? Let me see.
Yeah. Because I thought the dial that they put on it, that with like that cool texture and stuff, it looks really, really nice.
Yeah, totally does.
Yeah, so, and probably for the price point, it's going to be a bit better than what people can afford.
Yeah, it's nice. It's kind of got that texture, fume gray dial.
Yeah, Patek's trying to catch up to our good friends Grand Seiko with textured dials. Look at that.
Yeah.
Well, to me, it almost looks like, and this isn't the right comparison, but you know how Seiko does their new Alpinists, like with the textured dials? It kind of looks similar. I mean, the handset's different and stuff like that, but kind of similar in that regard.
One of the watches I saw, which I don't know if it was that one, but it had a very interesting texture around the side of the case. I don't really know what it looked like, but it definitely, it was the weirdest side of case I'd ever seen on a Patek. Oh, there it is. So
yeah, you're right. It's like beaded almost. I don't know.
One picture up. It's
yeah.
It's cool. Like hobnail pattern on the side, right?
Yeah, I think I actually really like it. I
I
think
like it a lot too.
I'm I
Like a
if you
bezel.
can't tell, I'm a truist, and I just tell things the way I think it is, and don't really care much about whose feelings I may hurt in the consequences of. But I've always in my head said that Patek was just, I'm sure they're nice watches and their quality, but they're just boring. And when I saw this release, I was like, wow, this Calatrava is actually not boring. So I'm really a fan. I said I love the case, I love the dial. That would be a Calatrava I would actually, if it's water resistant, which it probably isn't, would think
You
about
know,
getting.
it's 30 meters, I
Yeah,
think,
junk.
and $39,000, which
Ooh,
for Patek, I mean, not crazy. I think they also did. I mean, they
it's a
really
GM.
hyped up this one
Yeah.
with the annual calendar and travel time, which I mean, that's a gorgeous looking like annual calendar, and
Yeah.
they even
Oh,
have
I
the
mean
moon
that's
phase. Yeah,
that's a special watch, as I said. Yeah, you've got the cool dial, you've got the
yeah,
annual calendar, the moon phase, day night indicator. Yeah.
yeah. I wonder if it did the yeah, we did the same thing to the case too. You can see it's got that hobnail pattern to it.
Yeah, and really well executed in terms of everything is legible and practical. So I like that. It's not too busy.
Yeah,
Say if only it had better water resistance.
30
it's,
meters is not bad for what it is, but I know what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
well,
splash resistant. It's really not water resistant. But look at that
yeah.
movement.
That's beautiful. Those finger bridges are kind of like an
Yeah, it's like a
old-fashioned pocket
micro
watch.
rotor. Yeah,
But I said for me, any of these watches like in the FP Journe world where you're going to be spending $60,000, $100,000. I mean, I can't even imagine how petrified I would be going out into the real world if I had to worry about rain, someone spilling their drink on me, and having your watch get ruined. So as I said, 100 meters water resistance is a complete must for me.
fair enough.
yeah, that's a good point.
Um, Kind of skipped over some of the other Rolex releases, but I mean, quickly they got the platinum day date and they figured out how to flute that bezel, so that's kind of cool. I'm just trying to see quickly. I don't know. I was kind of intrigued by the craziest watch tag Heuer put together. I don't know if you guys saw the press release for this one with the. It's basically diamond encrusted dial. There's a lab grown diamond crown, and there's diamonds embedded into the side of the case as well.
Yeah, I saw a little advert video pop up on my Instagram today, and yeah, it showed all the craziness that went into making that thing. And
Yeah. I mean, it's almost a concept piece. I think there's only like a dozen made, and it'll only run you half a million Swiss francs.
yeah,
Jeez.
I'm not really sure where they got that price point from because
Yeah.
they Tag was the first company that made an accessible tourbillon for like $10,000-12,000 years back. So why does this one that's covered with lab grown diamonds cost half a million? That I don't know where the money's going.
I think they'd like to say it's just the innovation in terms of how they grew the diamonds to be integrated into an actual crown as well as embedded on the side of the case there. But yeah, I do think like that the price is fairly astronomical. I think you're just buying it because it's, rare and almost like a concept watch.
Yeah, and I mean, truth be told, it doesn't look too bad either. But yeah,
No,
the price, I agree. I was no like, come on.
I
yeah,
was on a stream earlier today and we were playing a guessing game of how much do you think this costs, and my vote was like 35 grand. So
yeah,
when
yeah. You were off by a bit there. Yeah,
when they dropped the bomb on us that it was 500, I was like, what?
yeah. I mean, you can get an RM for that price, I guess. I don't know. Alan getting Invicta vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, if it was Invicta Vibes, that would be like the suggested MSRP, and then the actual retail price would be 35,000.
Nice. Good one.
You buy one, get three free.
Yeah, I do think, like Neff mentioned too, that there was a carbon theme running through it in terms of like the movement components, and the case being carbon, and then you have diamond accents. So I mean, I
imagine
get
it's pretty
the
light
narrative.
then, I guess.
Sorry.
It's probably pretty light then, I guess. I don't know if that's a feature for it or not, but
I'm not too sure. I mean, let me just go. Let's see if the specs are at the bottom. Yeah. So it's. I mean, it probably light for 44 millimeter case size.
Well, what I think they made it out of, because I forget what the term is, but they make a wedding ring out of the same material where they pretty much burn, smash, crush, artificial diamond into this black, almost like a cooked carbon form. And so obviously because it's just all diamond, it's very scratch resistant and et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's what they made that case out of. So kind of like in the old days, they made tungsten wedding rings. It was,
yep.
and 15, 20 years ago, a tungsten wedding ring cost about $3,000 because no one knew how to cut it and the machines cost so much. And now they cost $15 on Amazon.com because anybody can do it. And same deal, this forged diamond is kind of a big deal right now. So that's probably where the cost comes in. But over the next however many years will probably become pretty mainstay if it's a good material.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I do like material science, so I'll give Tag a little bit of a pass for making a watch that doesn't look that bad with a cool material, just a little bit pricey.
Yeah, just a little too pricey. Yeah,
that's fair.
Well, we're just past the top of the hour, so it might be a good place to kind of wind down the stream. But before we go, I do want to thank everyone for the chat in the chat as well. Good conversations. And I just want to check in with both Darren and Patrick if there's anything you guys want to plug or you have coming up on your respective YouTube channels. So maybe we'll start with Darren. Ride Paddle Repeat on Instagram and YouTube. You got anything coming up?
Thanks. Yeah, well, I'm going to try and get a video finished for paddles behind me. Local paddle maker in Halliburton does an awesome job, so big props to him. Gonna try and get some interview footage done to complete the video, and then hopefully in a couple weeks, if we can get back on the trails, I have my new bike is getting the fork put in, suspension fork, and the new tires are on, so it'll be cool to see what that setup's like, because so far I've only had it in my adventure build for winter riding. And that's it.
Cool. Looking forward to that. Yeah, it'd be nice to if we can get up to Halliburton sometime. I'd like to do that.
For sure.
How about you, Patrick? Anything coming up on Pocket Watch time?
Well, I try to post a video every week if my schedule will allow it, and I can always use as many subscribers as can be. But my current one is a mystery video. I'm currently editing on it because the video title is the most expensive watch accessory I've ever bought, and you'll have to watch the video to find out what it is. It should probably post on Friday.
Awesome.
And, I said I've sent a couple watches off for service right now, and I'm waiting back to get them. And you get those cost estimates, and you buy an accessory here and there. And one of my accessories was kind of floored me of how much it cost, and I was just like, wow. So it motivated a video coming soon.
Cool. Looking forward to seeing that. Thanks. Yeah, and for me, Everyday Watch Guy on YouTube and Instagram. I'll be putting together a video fairly shortly on some marathon watches that were lent in by a viewer, Nilo, on Instagram. So thanks. I have a GSAR and a TSAR that I hope to get a short review on. So stay tuned for that. But again, thanks everyone for the time. And I'm curious to see what else is going to be coming out of Watches and Wonders. I'm sure we'll have more conversations in the coming days or weeks. And thanks again for joining the live stream, Patrick and Darren. And I hope you guys have a really good evening.
No problem.
Thanks
Take
very
care,
much.
Thanks for coming by,
guys.
everybody.